What's up, Caps fans? So, everyone's favorite time of the year is among us. We're all getting our tax returns back, and playoff hockey is starting. And for the first time in a little while, we're seeing the Flyers in the postseason in the first round. So, the Flyers are one of those teams that really picked it up at the latter half of the season. You know, they played really well throughout March. Their record was 9-5. And then they had kind of a slowdown in later April, but they still managed to get that second wildcard spot ahead of the Boston Bruins. So you guys obviously remember the last time that we took on the Flyers, we ended up losing in overtime. That game, the Flyers really got to us. It seemed like in the latter half of the game we were not playing our game because we were playing angry and we were playing frustrated. And that's not something that we can do in the postseason. The postseason is one of those times where the saying cooler heads prevail really holds its meaning. And the Caps really have to do that because we have a tendency to really let up a lot when we start to get angry. So, in other news, TJ Oshie was hurt during practice today. I don't think it's a big deal. Based on Trotz's statement, it looks like it was just a precautionary measure. But, we don't want to see anything like that happening, especially going into the playoffs. But I'm pretty sure TJ's going to be fine, and we're going to see him in the opening lineup. And I'm pretty sure we're going to have a completely healthy roster for the beginning of the playoffs. I think some of the Caps reporters and some of the NHL reporters are counting the Caps out a little bit too early on this one. They're saying that we're not as good as we were at the first half of the season, which I believe is true. I believe that we're not the same team that we were pre-NHL All-Star Game. But at the same time, we weren't playing playoff hockey then. We had a very comfortable lead. We weren't really playing for much. But at the time that the playoffs start, everyone is 0-0 and everyone's fighting to win. It's a completely different season. You may as well scratch the slates clean, and we just need to play our game, and I believe we'll be fine. I mean, it is a little disheartening that we didn't really play that well in March, and, we kind of limped to the end of the season, but we still won the President's Trophy, and we still proved that we're a very capable team. We still had some blowout wins, especially like the one that we had against the Blues last weekend, and I believe that we proved ourselves well enough to actually give us some level of comfort. As far as guys that we really need to watch out for, it's the standard Flyers guys. It's Braden Shen, it's Wayne Simmons, it's Jakub Voracek, and it's also Claude Giroux. And even Voracek hasn't been having the same season that he had last season. He's still a crazy point producer and a great playmaker. Claude Giroux, too, he's a great playmaker, and Wayne Simmons is very strong in front of the net. These are all guys that the Caps really need to keep an eye out for. The Caps definitely need to keep their heads up against these guys because they do most of the scoring on the team. The Caps, we have a lot of scoring depth now. We've got 4 lines that actually produce points. I mean, a little less on the 4th line, but our 1st, 2nd, and 3rd line really do a lot of damage in the other team's net. And the Flyers, it seems like if you shut out their top point producers, they've got nothing. But that's not to say that the Flyers can't do that because the Flyers have the potential to be a deeper team. Their talent, it's kind of, they've been plagued by injury here and there throughout the season, so maybe we haven't seen the true Flyers team. But, we take care of most of the problem if we get the top goal scorers taken care of. And defensively, they're pretty decent. They've got a lot of offensive generation, especially with guys like Shane Gostisbehere. But, we need to get shots on the net because their goaltending isn't that great. They've got Steve Mason and they got Nuvi. And, both goalies are around average, maybe a little subpar as far as the league goes. But if we can generate shots and get traffic in front, there's no reason we shouldn't score a ton of goals against these guys. So anyway, Game 1's tomorrow night. I really hope that we do well because we need a strong start in this one. If we go down by 1 game, I feel like that might get into our heads a bit. But, we do get used to teams pretty fast, and we've shown that during the season. So, it's not the end of the world if we lose the first or even the first 2 games. You just don't want that to happen. So anyway, until next time, let's go Caps.